The town of Millstone Grove was a quiet one. The kind of place where the loudest sound on a Sunday morning came from church bells or lawnmowers. But in April of 2019, that silence was shattered by a scream. And then, nothing. A young woman was found lifeless, her body bruised and battered, her hair clutched in the hand of the man who swore he loved her. What happened behind the ivy-covered walls of the Whitmore residence would expose a web of greed, betrayal, and cold-blooded murder. Bright, driven, and beautiful, she worked as a veterinary nurse and volunteered at a local animal shelter. She wasn't rich, but she had heart, and that made her unforgettable. This is the case of Vanessa Price, the girl who trusted too much, and the people who dragged her down, by the hair. Vanessa Price was just 26 years old when she met Marcus Whitmore. Marcus, on the other hand, came from wealth. His father, Alan Whitmore, owned a chain of luxury dealerships across 3 states. Marcus was charming but aimless, a man who lived on the shadow of his father's money. When he walked into Vanessa's clinic with a limping golden retriever, something sparked between them. Vanessa moved into the Whitmore estate in the hills, and the couple began to plan for the future. But as time passed, Marcus changed. She nursed the dog back to health, and he kept coming back, even when the dog didn't need care. Friends of Vanessa were skeptical. He'd yell, smash things, apologize, then buy her diamonds. One night, she showed up at Layla's apartment with a bruised arm. He had that rich boy arrogance, her roommate, Layla, said later. Vanessa was humble. He was anything but. But Vanessa believed in love stories. And Marcus made her believe she could be his. The first 6 months were picture-perfect vacations in Aspen, surprise gifts, candlelit dinners. He became possessive, Layla recalled. She stopped coming out with us. She looked drained. Vanessa confessed that Marcus had a temper. He pulled me by the hair, she whispered, sobbing. He said I embarrassed him at dinner. Layla begged her to leave. Vanessa promised she would. But she never did. Why? The answer may have been money. Just days before, Marcus had convinced Vanessa to invest the small inheritance she got after her mother's death, $110,000, into a business opportunity he was working on. She trusted him. He had access to accounts, credit lines, passwords. Leaving him meant walking away broke. And broken. In February 2019, Vanessa started asking questions. She hadn't seen any paperwork about the real estate startup Marcus said he was launching. There were no partners. No meetings. And the money was gone. She began keeping a secret journal, tracking Marcus's moods, movements, and financial dealings. On March 3, Vanessa wrote. He's hiding something. I found a burner phone. He keeps cash in the floorboard under his office desk. I think he's laundering money. It turns out she was right. Marcus wasn't investing. He was gambling, both in casinos and on illegal online betting sites. And when the money ran out, he turned to drugs. Investigators later confirmed that Marcus had ties to a small trafficking ring in the outskirts of Millstone. Vanessa was getting close to exposing everything. And Marcus knew it. On April 10, Vanessa was seen at the local police station. A source claimed she wanted to report a financial scam involving her boyfriend but asked for a day or 2 to gather everything. She never got the chance. That night, neighbors heard yelling from the Whitmore estate. A female scream. Then a crash. But this wasn't unusual, they were used to arguments coming from the house. Clutched in her left hand was a fistful of someone's hair. At 8:42 p.m., security footage from a nearby camera showed Marcus dragging something heavy across the patio toward the back of the property. He wore gloves and looked directly at the camera before smashing it with a crowbar. It was the last time anyone saw Vanessa alive. 2 days later, police received an anonymous tip. A body had been dumped behind a hunting cabin owned by the Whitmores, 40 miles outside town. When officers arrived, they found her. Vanessa Price. Half buried in mud. Dressed in silk pajamas, barefoot. Bruises across her face and ribs. Hair torn from the scalp. She had been killed in cold blood. The transfer failed due to a weak Wi-Fi signal, but cloud storage saved it. He's dangerous. And I think he's going to kill me. Autopsy revealed she suffered a blunt force trauma to the head and strangulation marks around her neck. Her nails were broken, she had fought hard. But the most chilling part? Brown. Male. DNA matched Marcus Whitmore. Marcus didn't run. He played the grieving boyfriend. She was depressed, he told police. She left after a fight. I thought she just needed space. But evidence told a different story. Blood traces were found on the marble floor of the estate's hallway. Her phone was hidden in the trunk of his car, smashed but not destroyed. Burnt remains of her journal were discovered in the outdoor fire pit. GPS data placed Marcus near the cabin the night she disappeared. The proceeds went toward a foundation in Vanessa Price's name, supporting domestic violence victims and providing legal aid for women afraid to leave abusive relationships. She trusted him. And he buried her like she was nothing. But the final nail in the coffin? A voice note saved to the cloud. Vanessa had recorded it the night of the murder and scheduled it to send to Layla via email. If anything happens to me, it's Marcus. He's not who he says he is. The trial of Marcus Whitmore gripped the nation. A rich man on the stand, defending himself against charges of first-degree murder, fraud, and obstruction. His defense argued that Vanessa's death was accidental, a heated argument gone too far. But the prosecution painted a different picture, one of calculated greed, escalating violence, and premeditated murder. They brought in texts where Marcus threatened her, "You talk, you disappear." Got it? The jury deliberated for just 4 hours. Guilty. Life in prison without parole. Vanessa's father, who hadn't spoken publicly until sentencing day, gave a statement. "He dragged my daughter by her hair. He killed her in cold blood. And for what? Money? Ego?" The Whitmore estate was sold. Her story became a warning. Never ignore the signs. Never stay silent. And never believe that love should hurt. Because Vanessa didn't die in silence. She left behind truth. And truth always finds a way out. For more chilling stories, subscribe to Secrets of the Case, where every story hides a deeper secret.